Ahoy, mateys! No. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at something from our friends at Cubic Fun. It is a 3D puzzle of the Flying Dutchman, the famous ghost pirate ship, and I cannot wait to put this together with you. I love puzzles, and of course this is right up our alley. For Halloween, it's going to help me with my pirate-themed decorating. I was thinking of doing pirates inside this year, maybe in the living room. This might be a great centerpiece on the mantle. I don't know. I can't wait to put it together with you. Before we do so, though, let's take a quick look at their website so I can show you what other kind of products they have. So you can find Cubic Fun at cubicfun.com, and I will put a link to them as well as any discount codes they provide in the description of this video. Look at this. These 3D puzzles require no gluing and no tools. That is fantastic. They work with different brands, a lot of licensed materials, it looks like. So if you are looking for Disney or NASA or National Geographic, you can find models to suit whatever interest you have. We are doing a vessel model. I love Titanic. Looks like they've got a Titanic model as well. Christmas Village. Now, I do wish they'd come out with a Halloween Spooky Village. That would be pretty awesome and right up our alley. But again, give them a check out at cubicfun.com. You can also check out their social media online at Cubic Fun 3D Puzzles. And that brings us to our 3D puzzle. I cannot wait to put this together with you. This has 360 pieces. I did read online that it should take us about 4 hours or so. So let's see if we can speed that up through the magic of video editing. But let's go ahead and open this box and see what's inside. I love how spooky this ship looks. Look, this looks like a mouth that's about to eat something. On the back of the box, we have a couple different images showing us what we can be expecting. It looks like we've got some stickers, pieces to assemble, and we're going to have this full model at the end. What does this say here? 3D puzzle of Flying Dutchman. The Dutch were the old masters of the sea before Britannia ruled the waves. The sea was their favorite element, and the struggle of the Flying Dutchman against the angry billows typified their own battles with the powers of old ocean and their determination to conquer at all hazards. Inside the box, we have a nice manual. Look at the brilliant colors of this. Wow, it's beautiful. Looks like the illustrations show us how to put it together. And overall, there's 26 pages of instructions. This is interesting. It's a hole puncher. Looks like we have some plastic cannon pieces, a battery compartment for our LED lights, instructions for the LED lights. There are quite a few puzzle pieces. Well, I believe there's 360 pieces to put together, as it said so on the box. And they are labeled. Some of them have numbers. Some of them have letters and numbers. Let's go ahead and jump right in. I cannot wait to put this together, but let's start with a few instructions here. It says, remove the parts following the instructions for each step. Do not remove other parts. I think that's because once you take them off, you're not going to know the number, and it's going to be really hard to put them together. Punch all interlocking holes before assembly. Fold the parts before inserting. Insert the parts and make sure they're securely in place. Interestingly enough, we're not starting with pieces 1 and 2. We're starting 12, 13, 19, 20, 10, and 11. Some of the parts have the numbers printed right on them as well. I imagine because we're not going to see that. This one as well has a couple of holes that we need to punch out. Let's go ahead and give this hole puncher a test. They popped out pretty easily. Here we have our first set of pieces to put together. It looks like, I'm guessing we are supposed to put these back to back, these 19 and 20, because they do sort of line up. I imagine we want to put the side with the numbers on the inside so that we don't see them. All right, we have 10 and 11 slotted in. It's a little hard to tell how far it's supposed to slide in there. It looks like there might be a bit of a gap but I feel like I can't really press it up any further. And 12 will slot here in the front, and 13 even in front of that. So those pieces slotted in all the way to the intersection point. So I pulled it apart and lined things up just a little bit better, and that got everything to kind of line up at the top. We've got more hull pieces. I've already noticed I made a mistake. You have to be careful with the instructions and follow the arrows. So this should have actually slotted in the second slot, not the first one as I had done. But they're easy to pull apart and fix. And it is coming together. We're going to combine the two pieces together now. Step A4 has some more hull pieces, and we have managed to finish our first card of pieces. Looks like this is going to be the back of the ship. There we go. We finished our first page. We're getting into some serious pieces now. This is huge, and there's about 100 different things to punch out. Maybe not quite that many, but it seems like it. All right, I think I got them all. Look at all these little tab pieces that have come off just this one piece. And it looks like this large piece is going to hold everything together. And of course I missed a step, so let's go ahead and pull this back off. I think our two hull pieces were supposed to fit together first. Now, our top piece should be able to slot right on. Took a little finagling, but there we go. We have another piece for the front of the ship here. And I've missed a few holes. So I am a little baffled. This piece doesn't have a slot on the top here, and I can't figure out if I have put it together wrong or not. I don't see any other way it could slot in. There doesn't seem to really be holes elsewhere as if I have something backwards. So I guess we'll leave it and see what happens. I keep finding holes I haven't punched. A couple of little pieces go on back here. And we have our first folding pieces. So they are already perforated, easy to fold. That completes step A5. Our next step is to run some LED lights in through all of these little holes. So we have a battery compartment. We're going to come back to that in a bit. We've got two different cables, it looks like. Now, fortunately, the instructions do number each hole that we need to push the cables through. So we're going to run it through a little bit of the back here, and then throughout the rest of the ship. If you've got fat fingers like me, it might be helpful to use some tweezers to get inside these small holes, but I've gone ahead and put the first bit of cable through just up until where the wiring hits. So here you can see all of the cabling run through. At the end, it just kind of ends in this top little bit. And I did not have enough wiring to do it the first time because I kept everything pretty loose. I had to go through a second time and tighten up everything to make sure there's not a whole lot of looseness when you are putting the cables through. So just keep that in mind. Next, it looks like we're going to make a compartment to hold the battery. Sandwich these together, hold them together with these clips. So obviously one of these is wrong, and it doesn't really indicate which one. So I don't know if these holes are supposed to line up so that they look exactly the same, or if you want that dimension of them not being the same, like it's broken. I don't know which one is right. This one means we're going to have a number appearing on one side. If I do it this way, there's no number, which I prefer better, but these don't line up. I'm going to err on the side of keeping them lined up. And as you can see, I have already kind of ruined one of these little clips. If you press too hard and it's not lined up right, it's going to bend. Press them into the platform. This piece has some creases, so we're going to bend it. Now, fortunately, these tabs and holes only line up in one direction, so you're not going to get it mixed up. And then these pieces we just made will slot onto this as well. Oh, I forgot to put these little pieces in. I think we can retrofit them. There we go, that gives it a little bit more support. This is where we're going to store the battery compartment, which I've gone ahead and preloaded with 2 AA batteries. I did have to take the base piece off to get this box back in. It's probably easier to install the battery compartment while you're putting this thing together instead of at the end. But now that it's in, we can put this cover plate on. And there is room here to turn the switch on and off. And then finally here on the base we have an area for this sign for the Flying Dutchman. And we have our completed base to hold the ship. We have all these hull pieces next. There are color-coded dots on these hull pieces so we can make sure we get them in the right order. But we're going to start with this back piece. And then it's just going to wrap around the base. There we go. It does fit pretty snugly. All right, the hull is coming together. It's not quite lined up perfectly, but I think that's sort of my problem. And I still have this back end to do because it keeps wanting to pop out. But I think I'm getting the hang of it. It's easiest to start in the middle. Line up these tabs. And here again the problem, once you have tried it and failed so many times, these little tabs get bent and hard to use. Tweezers help a little bit. I did also find I had one of these middle pieces backwards. That's why, if you remember, I had that one weird tab that wasn't lining up. It lines up now. I should have just paid closer attention to the directions. All right, it is not perfect, but that's about as good as I'm going to get it. I've got a few pieces to go along the bottom of the hull. You have to be gentle or all this stuff's going to start popping out. There is a little notch here that I assume these cables are supposed to come up through. And then this piece can go on the back. Now we're going to fix all these pieces that popped out. And these bottom pieces, I guess these cables are supposed to come out right at the end of this. And the smallest piece goes up top. I do think that these things at least give it a little bit more stability. And we're going to push it back together again. Next up, we have the scary looking front. Look, you've got, I think, a skull there, these little teeth. And somehow we're going to put all these together. So they all just sandwich together and are supposed to just slide here on the front of the ship. I feel like that might be able to squeeze in a little bit more. I think this notch is supposed to slide in that hole a little bit more. But again, it's hard to really press these things in anymore, especially when they're sandwiched together. Oops, and that just popped out again. Next up, we have all these fun little cannons. At least we don't need to assemble them, although it does look like there are a couple of support pieces we're going to need to put on the boat. They look like little stairs, and they just slot in to the top of the boat deck. And while we're here, we can put on all of our little cannons. It really brings the ship to life. Another platform. This platform is going to require a little assembly. This piece keeps popping out. I'm just going to leave it. It's just going to keep popping out, so we'll deal with that at the end. Look how cool this looks when everything's punched out. You even have this little like chain link sort of fencing going on. This piece is going to go up here. We have another platform piece for the back. Some little stair tabs. But first we have another piece of wall we need to assemble, and it looks like some of this just goes on top of each other to give it dimension. This piece has Canon artwork. Looks like it's shining through the windows here. Not sure I have assembled that correctly, but let's just, well. It's a little unclear how that's supposed to be assembled. But it does fit together nicely when I put it in the slot. All right, we have some more, I'm not sure what these things are, like tusks that I think are supposed to go in here. It seems like when you have to stick two in one hole, it never wants to sit right, but it's there for now. We have another grate piece to stick on top of this grate. You can see the cross pieces through there. We have another rail piece that we kind of have to shimmy into these holes. It's time to add some more walls to the side of the ship. You can see the cannons shooting through the little holes. Now we have a platform that goes above these stairs here. Not really sure what this thing is, but we're going to put it here. A little chain around it. A couple of tiny little pieces. I think they're stairway ends for up here. And then we have another platform. All right, got that going on. I'm just going to pop this side panel back in place. And then we have this really cool designy piece for the back. It's starting to get a little tall for the camera. We have what appears to be teeth that are going to slide into the front here, right where my piece is that doesn't want to stay. So by some minor miracle, I managed to get that together. I'm just going to use a slight piece of tape here so that it doesn't pop out like some of these other pieces. I think that's probably the way I'm going to go from now on with these delicate pieces. Not sure if that's exactly how it's supposed to look, but it looks creepy enough. We have one of the ship's wheels to put together. It's just going to slide right in here. Next up, we have some sort of fin for the back. So I'm going to bend this piece in half and attach these. They kind of look like little corals or something. And this is going to slide here on the end. Looking very decorative. Well, that's not fully in place, but it's as best as I can get it. Just gonna use my secret weapon piece of tape. That's not going anywhere. This tiny little area over here has a few pieces that need to go on the side. Not sure what this indicates. I think we are supposed to peel off the back. Is this a sticker? Guess this is just going to give it dimension. We've got some nice railing pieces for the back. That looks cool, but was a very tight fit. Going to assemble the rudder and then stick it on. We're going to assemble the masts next. That actually came together pretty cool. But now we have to add the sails. This sail material is kind of like heavy-duty paper, very interesting, but it's not the cardboardy type paper. Basically, I've sandwiched the paper between these two pieces, so now we can install it. Here we have our completed mast with sails. I had a little difficulty putting them on until I figured out I needed to put the bottom in before I attached the top. It looks like I've got a few more of these to put together. It took me about an hour, but I went ahead and put together the rest of the masts and sails, and you can see now from this wide shot that this thing is quite large. So let's go ahead, put this in, and kind of get a real idea of the scale. It's just going to press into the front here. They also have these ropes in front that we're going to need to attach to support the mast. I am 90% sure I did not assemble this whole front end correctly. So this piece is not really attached to anything, but unless you look closely, you're not going to notice. Let's go ahead and put on the back mast. So it does stick in pretty easy. I was a little concerned that pressing down on the top of this would cause things to flex or pop out, but it seems to be pretty secure. We do have a couple... It's all good. I do need to punch out a couple more pieces though. Ropes and wires. I feel like this side does not want to reach for some reason. I can't get it to plug in, but it's going to be one of those situations again. Unless you look closely, you're probably not going to notice. And our middle sail with ropes. Couple more sails to put on the front. Bunch more of these wires I need to connect. Got some sails that are actually going to connect between the masts as well. The sails are all in place now, sort of, close as I can get it. I think I did miss one step. It looks like we have stickers that are supposed to go in between all of these little seams to help, I guess, hold it together and disguise it. So let me go ahead and add those. We also have a number of faces that go around the little cannon holes. That does give it a lot more dimension, so I like that. The last thing we need to do is put together the anchors. There's one for each side. So we put together a couple little pieces on the anchor, and then there is a clip that's going to hold it in place right here. Unfortunately, this is where I sort of broke it a little bit and it's pushed in. So I don't know how I'm going to attach the anchor except with my trusty tape. At least it kind of hides the hole. Reattach the rudder for like the 100th time. Now all we have to do is attach the wires that are coming out of the back of the ship to the battery pack in the base. And attach the rudder one more time. And I can see the green lights glowing. There is an easily accessible on-off switch here in the back, but there you go. There is our ghost ship, at least 90% put together correctly, maybe. So let me go ahead and bring the camera in and we'll take a closer look. I love the way this looks. It is so ghostly and spooky and so detailed. Even when you look down here at the boat deck, you see the grates and the glowing that comes up from within them, the cannons, the stairways with the railings, the little faces around all of these portholes. There's the anchor I couldn't quite get right. The front, I'm sure I messed up. So any defects that you see here are mine and mine alone, not the manufacturer's, because this thing is amazing. It's so intricate and detailed. I don't know how somebody could create this. There are so many pieces to put together to make sure it works and works beautifully. I can't even imagine how much time went into putting this together. We'll take a look at that glowing effect with the lights dim here at the end of the video, but let me know, what do you think? I think I did a decent job putting this together. Again, my apologies to the Cubic Fun people who sent this to me. for my lack of delicacy. You want to be a little more gentle putting this together than I am. I am one of those people that just throws things together. But even so, I think it turned out great. And if I put this on my fireplace mantle or whatnot, from afar, no one's going to see those flaws. There's just so many things to look at. Overall, you get the effect. It's fantastic. It is this creepy ghost ship. It goes perfectly with my pirate theme. I can't wait to use it in my display this year. If you're interested in getting this ship, again, I will put a link to it in the description below with a coupon code from our friends, again, at Cubic Fun. Be sure to check them out. And again, at their website for all of their other fun products. I might have to give another one a shot when I can spend some more time on it. This one still took me, it says on the website it takes about 4 hours. It took me about 7 to 8 hours to put this together. It's really calming though if you just sit down and assemble it slowly and take your time and do it right. And if you're going to, let me know. I'd like to see how yours turns out. Before we go, I did want to say a special thank you to all the patrons who help support the channel. If you're interested in joining our Fright Club, be sure to check out a link to my Patreon page in the description below. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Till next time, take care and happy haunting.
Ooh, treasure.